Da, 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 da.
There you go. Sing us in, buddy. Sing us in, Robert.
I know
Sing us
nothing.
in.
I don't listen to ACDC.
Welcome to the, what is this, Tuesday night?
That's it.
What day of the week is this, man?
Tuesday.
I'm telling you, I'm out of it. Welcome to the Tuesday night edition of Citizen Watch here on 1480 AM KYOS. We've got some guests in the studio today and one on the phone, or actually a guest in the studio and one on the phone. Joining us again via the telephone is the brother of the Velvet Sledgehammer,
Momo the Roach.
Mr. Vincent Tomasetti. Welcome
Momo.
to the show, Vince.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Oh, he's trying to be professional now.
And why don't you introduce our in-studio guests?
In-studio guest is Ernie Carrillo from E&J's Auto Repair. And what happened is Stan Thurston gave us an idea of why don't we just pull a guy off the street. Ernie happened to be walking past. We yanked him in. Hey, buddy, what's up? You want to be on radio? Sure. No, anyways.
So Ernie's a small business owner.
Small business owner, owns two businesses in town.
And they are the engine that drives our economy.
Well, Engine C. He works on Engine C. Pretty good there, Steve.
You see that segue?
Yeah.
Welcome to the show, Ernie.
Thank you.
Feel free to jump in anytime. You're going to see once this gets going. It becomes a free for all, and say what you got to say.
Momo, what's happening? I hear you're going to see Dad.
Yes, I am.
Are you bringing your Zort? Are you going to bring your money to go to Vegas and go be Vinny the Gambler?
Yep.
What do you play, Vinny? Are you a 21 guy? Slots? What do you do?
Roulette
wheel.
Ooh, what do you bet? Black red?
Yes, black red.
Yeah.
What's that pay? 2-1?
Yeah. He got hosed. Last time we were there, he had 21 reds in a row. Vince is like, it's got to be black sometime.
Hence the gamble.
Yeah, and then we went to the Orleans for Thanksgiving. Ernie came with us, and we had dinner with my dad. And Vince had what? How many, Ernie? How many? Vince is a diabetic, right? Momo's a diabetic. What do you not eat as a diabetic?
Sugar.
How many desserts did he have?
He's got at least 9 plates of just different sorts of pies and cakes.
Vince, you living on the edge, buddy, or what?
No.
Pushing the envelope there?
No.
He's a man of
not telling the truth now. Come on.
What are you talking about? Your little brother. We're allowed to do this. You know, you're
Absolutely.
little brother.
I need to get some advice from Momo when I get a chance.
What?
You want me to ask him now, or do you want me to
Sure,
hold
go ahead.
up? Okay. All right. Vince, I'm going to ask your opinion on something. All right, buddy?
Okay.
Okay. I've got somebody in my life that just messes with my head. All right? And I'm going to give you.
Hey! Keep this G-rated.
I'm going to give you a few examples. Okay. I'll be I've been engaged in a conversation before, and this gentleman has done things like this. He's taken my cell phone, and he's changed out all the names of the individuals that I have in my phone book to names such as Fozzie Bear. He changed Casey from Casey Steed to Fozzie Bear / Huge Jass.
No, Hugh
Jass.
Jass,
right? He changed one of our supervisors' names to Omar's client.
Omar the tent maker.
He changed my ex-wife's name to Her Sexiness. So, I'm getting over a broken heart, and every time the phone rings, I see Her Sexiness. So, you know what that must do to me.
Are those who the roses were for, Steve?
Oh, you got me.
What a nice guy.
Momo, you got me, buddy. You caught me. Anyway, so the same individual comes in last week and walks in, and I had brought some bananas for breakfast. And when I walked into the studio, he was sitting here. He said, "Can I have one of these bananas?" I said, "No."
You know how I do, Vin.
So the bananas,
while he was busy.
The bananas were sitting there, and I kind of lost track of them, like I do. I got involved in a conversation. Hour later, I go to eat my breakfast, look over, and one of my bananas is missing. Right. So the next day, this individual comes back to the studio and gives me 2 4-inch bananas.
What are they
Little
called?
old bitty things.
Plantains.
Okay, he didn't give me bananas. He gave me plantains.
They're bananas.
And things like that, Vince. And I know you've grown up with the individual I'm talking about. What do you do? How do you handle those situations when he's just trying to irritate you?
Velvet Sledgehammer now you're talking about.
Go ahead, Vince. What do I do? How do I handle that? You've known the guy for 50 years. What do I do?
I would break off the friendship with this guy. I don't know.
Come on, Vin.
A real winner.
And we'd be go out and back with boxing gloves. Hey, Vino, guess what I found the other day?
Boxing gloves.
No, jarts.
Oh, my God, the ones you put through the tent in the backyard?
Hey, shush. Dad still doesn't know who did that. Now, if he listens to the show, I've been foiled.
Something through the window?
No, what happened is I found this box of jarts.
What's a jart?
Okay, explain what a jart is, Vin.
It's a big, big, huge dart.
Right, huge dart.
Like
What'd
a
you
lawn
do?
dart?
Yeah, lawn dart. And you take it from the back and you fling it. Well, one time I flung it up, and I'm like, oh, shit, and it comes, shoop. Where'd it go, Vin? Vin.
Where did
Right through the tent.
Right through the tent. My dad had a little tent in the backyard so his kids can play, and right through the tent. My dad was mad. I said, I don't know how it happened.
Nobody was in there at the time.
We were playing. Yeah, they'd been impaled. We always picked on Vin. Vin was the guy. Vin was Vin was a lot younger, and poor Vin.
Yeah,
it was Vince.
Vin was the nice one.
Well, he was
Vin-
a softie.
Well, there you go. That's why you picked on him.
Momo?
Yeah.
Come on. We love Momo. That's why Momo's on the radio now, don't we, Vino?
Put a dart through my head.
Vino, he was the problem child.
No, I find that hard to believe with you in the
No,
family.
you know what it was? Perry and I, my brother Perry and I, and Pete, we were pretty active, you know.
What's the pecking order? Who's oldest?
Who's oldest?
You are. The Velvet Sledgehammer is
Okay.
the oldest.
Vin, just jump in there, Vin. Don't have to pause.
Vin, who's underneath him, Vince? Who's second?
Perry,
Perry, and then third?
me, and then Peter.
Peter, okay. We never hear about Peter.
You don't want to know about Peter right now. My dad's probably pulling his hair out with that comment. No, and the funny thing is you know, it's just sibling rivalry, and you know it's that way when we're at the cigar store. Ask Ernie. Poor Ernie comes in, and we tease him unmercifully because Ernie bought and is now the one of the proprietors of Holistic Exchange, and all we talk about is, hey, Ernie owns a massage parlor.
That's all I get. It's so much more than that, but that's all I get.
You
from them.
bought the Holistic Exchange from
Yes.
downtown?
Yeah.
Good for you. Yeah, we've had they've come in here a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pole dancing girls.
No, you're right. There's so much to that.
Right,
I mean, there's
yeah,
so many
it's-
different levels of.
I knew there was a
healing.
reason why when we were in Vegas that Ernie brought me into a strip joint.
He,
He was getting some weird ideas.
no, not that. He was looking for employees. Did you have to pass out employee handbooks and stuff? But anyways,
I have an idea, Steve, for the next time that gentleman eats one of your bananas, I would lace it with X-Lax.
Yeah, there you go.
hey,
there you go.
Hey, knock it off.
See, but knowing him, he'll take the one that has no X-Lax and leave me the one with it.
Hey, anyways, but Vince wanted to talk about Momo. What do you want to talk about today? You wanted to make a comment about
The homeless situation there in Merced County.
what do you think about it?
There's 768 homeless people in Merced County, including 21 children. That's not good.
Did you come here and count them yourself? Where'd you get the number?
He read the article in the Sun Star, I'm sure.
Yes, he did. How did
Yeah.
you get the Sun Star, Wayne Mantica?
It's based on the 2014 homeless count and survey. 79%, which is 609 people, are living on the streets.
Wow.
Last year, Merced County received $500,000 for homeless programs.
So this year, because our homeless doubled, we should get a million? Is that how it works? Well, let me ask you this, Vince. If you were the guru of homelessness here in Merced and Merced County, what would you do? I mean, what would you do?
Put him at Casey's house. Casey's not living there.
I would try to help them any way you can.
Yeah, but Vino, how would you help them? You know, you lived with me for a while. Excuse me. You know, they come on the porch. Peter and Vince used to live with me for a little while while they were in transition. Peter would smoke, and the homeless people come on the porch and dig through my ashtray.
Yeah.
I mean, they just helped themselves, and then it's just terrible. It really is. You know, I live on a busy street. They come, they rifle through my garbage. You know, some of them have been pretty good about it.
Vince, have you ever had a chance to talk to any of them? I mean, have any conversations?
No.
Yeah, our issue here
Hey, you know
is-
what? Why don't we have that?
What?
Hey, Vino, why don't you find a homeless person in Manteca and get and you know, we'll make you like the Rupert G, okay, of David Letterman. That'll be your project. Report back in a couple of weeks what he said.
All right.
Why don't you do an interview?
Why doesn't he go find one now? We can wait.
But Vince, here's the problem I think we deal with here in Merced is there's a lot of individuals out there that don't want any help. They kind of embrace the lifestyle. They don't want to give up their animals or their alcohol or whatever the case may be to take the help that's being offered to them. What do we do with those individuals?
I have no idea, but the county plans on homelessness in the next 10 years.
The what?
they plan on homelessness in the next 10 years. But
Well, here's my point. Where are they hiding? Because I don't see any homeless camps. So how have they doubled?
Well, Stan Thurston said he thought, our mayor said he thought maybe they counted a few twice.
He could have. What do you think, Momo?
They used to be along the road by Walmart and out there in Merced.
Yeah, that's when they had the old homeless camp. How many? Hey, I got a better idea. Why don't we just have them live with you? You seem to be having a, every time I call you, you're watching ESPN. You got a nice pad out there. Why don't we just ship you a couple?
Here's a couple more little tidbits. 83% having HIV or AIDS are women. 39% have mental illnesses. 33% are substance abusers. 31% were victims of domestic violence. 6% are veterans.
Can we just?
And I didn't notice there's only one homeless shelter serving the city of Merced. It's not enough, folks.
Whoa! Look at him. Not enough, folks. He's learning Radio 101 from Casey
He has been
Steed.
paying attention because that's one of the big hot button issues in our community.
Yep.
If you just keep shooing them away, you will find them sleeping on your front porch, your back porch. Most of all, we will have more panhandlers.
Hey, give us your opinion. Quit reading the Merced Sun Star.
I'm not.
All right. Well, hey. Well, that's good. But do me a favor. Do you see any homeless people where you're at, Vin?
Yeah.
Okay. Do me a favor. Get in a little
Is
notepad.
that safe, though? I mean, you want to send him up to strange homeless people? I mean,
It's my brother Vince. We used to do worse. Didn't we, Vince? Vino, didn't we do worse?
and they start asking them questions, and some of them with the mental illness issue.
Oh, poor Vinny. Vinny was, yeah, but you know what? Vince is pretty good about it. He's resilient. He doesn't have a problem. The stuff we did to him as kids, we walked through the woods, and they took. I won't go there because then Vince he'll get me back, won't you, Vince?
Yep.
Yep. So we'll just keep it
No,
brotherly love.
That's the problem. Is you'll do things to him, and he's such a nice, kind person. He won't do them back.
Who, Vin?
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
Is that true? Is that true, Vince?
Yeah, it is. It's true.
Yeah,
when you look at our relationship, I'm more like the bully.
Yeah. You were telling us that story about Vinny playing football and didn't want to hit the kid with the...
Yeah, remember, hey, Vin, remember when you were in he was in Pee Wee football, and Vince was always this way. No matter what we did, he was the softie. And my dad looks at him and he goes, Vince, hit that guy. Vin goes, okay. So Vince gets in there, a guy comes through, walks right past Vince, right? Just goes right past him.
Vince on the offensive line?
Yeah, offensive line. Vince, hit the guy. Vince goes, I can't. He has crossed eyes. Guess the kid looked at him and had one eye that was kind of messed up, and Vince felt really, didn't you, Vin? What'd you do? Feel ashamed of hitting him?
Yeah.
Hey, Vin, there's nothing wrong with being a cool dude, man. And you're a cool guy. Don't ever lose that. It's all good.
But just remember, silence is bad on radio. Keep talking. Okay?
Only talk if you have something to say.
That's what he does, but he's really quiet. You're like, Vince, come on. What do you think? It's okay.
Well, he gave us his opinion on the homeless situation.
Mm-hmm. Vin, you dating?
No.
Nope. No women on a string? Or why aren't you giving?
Not looking.
Why aren't you giving me my mom used to ask him. My mom and dad were really good in our lives about going through puberty and how you doing with girls, getting problems, all that stuff. And my mom, it's so funny. Vince would be sitting at the table and my mom say, "So, you got any girlfriends?" Vin be going, "Don't worry about it." That was my friend. We swear to God, we call Vince Vinny Vague. My dad and I call Vinny Vague. Vince, how you doing? Good. So, Vin, what's going on? Things. So, you got any girlfriends? None of your business.
No.
Don't worry about it. Didn't you used to do that to Dad?
Yeah.
Yeah, Vinny Vague. He doesn't tell you much.
A man of few words.
Man of few words.
That's a good thing.
All right, Vino. Hey, love you. Call Dad. Tell him I said hello. I'll come and visit you guys in a couple weeks.
Do.
All right.
Vince, thanks for being here, buddy. We'll talk to you
Thank
soon.
you.
All righty. Have a good one.
Bye.
All right, Vince Tomasetti. So they're all not. There are a couple good ones, Ernie. You know what I'm saying?
He's quiet. He's always been quiet.
He gives me a hope and faith for the Tomasetti clan when I talk to Vince.
Oh, there's no saving this one though.
Ernie and I are going to tell a story. It's funny.
All right. Well, can you hold the story till after the commercial break?
No, let's do it now, and then we'll be done with it.
Go ahead. Do it.
Ernie, Dennis, and Ralph, they all go out to Vegas. So we're going to meet. We're going to go play golf. Vince already there with my dad. So Vince hanging out with my dad. So Vince goes with Ernie, Dennis, and Ralph, and they happen to go to a gentleman's club. So they go to a gentleman's club. My brother just meets him, right? So Ernie, we had Thanksgiving at the Orleans. So Ernie comes over with my dad, and we had dinner, and Vince is there. And Vince looks up at Ernie and goes, well, where's Ralph Ralph and Dennis. And Ernie goes, I don't know. My brother Vince goes, well, no, those two, they're probably at a strip club. Ernie goes, you just met them hours ago.
Yeah, those strip clubs tend to be magnets for dudes when you're in Vegas.
Not me. Ask him.
Nope.
Really, he won't go?
Would not even go into one. Would not even entertain the idea.
I said, you know what their job is? Ernie goes, what? I go, to separate me from my wallet.
Amen.
It's true.
Amen. But it's a quid pro quo. You know, if you're getting something for it and you think it's worth it, then that's business.
But
right?
our friend Ralph, he fell in love with one, didn't he?
That's the mistake. That's the mistake.
And then when we got back home, he forgot her name that quick. But Ernie has a story. Ernie got married in Vegas.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Well, we'll have to hear those stories after the first break.
We're going to talk business. Okay.
Okay. Well, we're going to take a break. We're going to get Casey on the line. When we come back for segment 2, Casey will join us. And you're listening to Citizen Watch on this beautiful Tuesday evening here from downtown Merced. We'll be right back.
All right, here we are, the second segment on Citizen Watch on KYOS.
Momo changed his voice.
AM 1480, Tuesday, March 4th. We're into a new month here. March has come in like hopefully a lion. We're going to get some rain here. I don't know if you guys read in the paper where MID is looking at their water rates today. They're going to have a meeting with their board of directors. We have no water to sell. MID is a private company, and the only way they make money is selling water, not by their good looks.
And they got some nice salaries over there, too. You look at
they got some nice salaries, and we had some people in when they were running.
They pay their party planners $60,000 a year.
Well, how many parties should you plan? They got no water out there. What are you going to do? Hi, want to have your party in a mud hole?
They might be having a skate park out there in the bowl, but they're going to go from $23.25 an acre foot to over $100.
No way.
An acre foot. Yeah,
it's going to go from what to what?
Of the water to sell, they have to come up with $2 or $3 million to run that operation over there. So
say that again, Case. What
they're going to go from $23.25 an acre foot. An acre foot's about 326,000 gallons. Covers 1 acre, 1 foot deep. That's why they call it an acre foot. Farmers usually need between 9 and 10 acre feet a year to run their crop. Rice takes.
What do you think, Ernie?
15. But it's one of those deals where
you're a businessman. I mean, that's
right.
That's shattering. You can't
just
well, if you don't think that things are going to cost more for people, then you got another thing coming. If water costs 4 times as much, guess what your produce on your table is going to cost?
It's already started.
Have you guys introduced Ernie yet?
We did. Did we introduce Ernie in the first segment?
Ernie with E&J Auto Repairs with us.
We did. Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And
well,
the
Ernie, I
Pole
really
Vixens.
appreciate you coming in and sitting in on this. And do you have any thoughts on that? I mean, you probably see your costs go up. Don't you have to pass those along to the consumer?
Yeah, at some point. Right now it's not too bad still. But what I wonder is, like you said, we know we're in a drought. The water prices go up. But what about when there's a surplus? Do they bring those prices down?
No.
Well, they do, and then
probably not.
Surplus. We need to have some dams.
Right.
Damn.
Well, but the point is, I mean, if you're paying $23 for any kind of expense and it goes up to $100, is that what you said? $100 a foot from 23 to 100?
Over 100. They don't know how much over 100.
Okay, so it's gone up at least fourfold.
Right.
So how does any business absorb an expense increase like that?
Well, here's my question.
Unless you have huge profit margins.
Who got them in this problem?
God?
Well, the supervisors,
No, wait, Case. Wait, before you go off on that, here's my point, and Ernie brought up a good question. We see this with government all the time. They never give back the money. Okay, they need, but they never give back the money. We're still paying for the 1989 0.5% sales tax for the repair of the Bay Bridge. Okay, I remember they said it'd be a short time, it'd be temporary. Nothing with the government is ever temporary. Nobody remembers. Now, Ernie brings up a good point. Now, how did MID get themselves in this problem? Who got MID in this problem? They did it themselves. Lack of foresight. You never miss your water till your well runs dry. Now we're at that point. Now all of a sudden they're scrambling. How are we going to pay this? But when Mr. Swigert makes his $200,000 and he takes his $20,000 a month paycheck, I'm sure he ain't worried about the price of water.
Well, he's worried now because they don't have any water to sell to meet the payroll.
Well, guess what?
That was my next question: is if they're going to quadruple the water rates, I'm sure the leadership over there is going to start trimming their salaries and benefits too. Correct?
That was
I'd like
sarcasm,
to think they
folks.
would. They're a for-profit company, and Swigert, to his credit, took a company that was running in the red and put it in the black. Now, if they don't have a commodity to sell,
and compensates
I don't
himself.
know if we can blame Swigert for lack of rain.
I think he's done a good job, and he's very, very well compensated, as are a lot of people over there. He's not the only one over there making $200,000 a year.
No, but it takes foresight to run a. I disagree a little bit. It takes foresight to run a large corporation like that, or a business, and I think that he's been looking long term, but you can't control Mother Nature to a point, and it takes more than just MID and what they wish. I'm sure they wish they had more impoundment. They want to raise exchequer 10 feet so they can have more impoundment. They want to look at
we understand
using the existing storage facilities
but I think,
in a better way, more efficient way. So you really can't blame it all on management.
No, but I think what the point that Ernie was making is when times are tough, the customer absorbs that burden. But when the water's flowing and things are great, they don't necessarily give that consumer a big break. They benefit from it more than the consumer does.
Oh, look, we got better times than last year. Give us pay raise.
Well, that may be true to a point. I understand what you're saying, and I think that people need to realize that $23 an acre foot is pretty reasonable when you consider that much water. If you had to pay for that water coming out of City of Merced water meter, you'd pay a lot more than $23.
No, and
but is it fair to shift the burden to the ratepayer when times are tough, and then take the benefit when times are good? That's my point.
I think the question is, what did they do when times were good? Were they giving competitive water rates? And I think overall they were. Now, some people could say, is $200,000 or whatever a year too much money? I don't know. When you're running a large business like that, and you're trying to be forward thinking, that may be in line.
Casey, you're right, but here's the question. Okay, MID sometimes shoots itself in the foot. They go over here, they shoot themselves in the foot, they bring Swigert in. He's had some good times. Income did well. Okay, I deserve $200,000 because look at the great job I did because I'm running a major corporation. Now, due to their lack of foresight, they don't have water, so now they're going to, I'm going to pass this on to the consumer.
And where do you think the lack of foresight was?
Storage facilities.
Well, can they just willy-nilly build storage facilities whenever they want, or they have to go through a California process?
Okay, look, do I look like Stan Thurston to you that you have to lead me by the neck? No. The whole point of the matter is...
I didn't realize I was leading you by the neck. I was asking a question.
Well, but you're doing like Casey did to Stan. So tell me, Brother Time, what I'm saying is that, look, I was going to make a parallel and shift to Ernie here. The only thing that I saw go down was smogs. I remember when smogs were $65 and plus the certificate. Now you can go to E&J Auto Repair and get a smog done for $20 what?
$26.75.
Yeah, that smogs are the only thing that I've seen gone backwards out of anything. I remember that everybody was trying to head to Mariposa because they had what do they have up there, Case?
They don't have smog in Mariposa.
Right, and everybody was trying to go to Mariposa, get a P.O. box,
You don't have to have a smog test in Mariposa?
No.
Is that right?
Under change of ownership only.
Wow, I did not know that.
When you first buy the vehicle, you have to have a smog on any vehicle, but if you're registered in Mariposa County, you don't have to have a smog, an annual or semi-annual, whatever it is, every 2 years.
Right. Go ahead, Ern.
No, I was just going to say this doesn't sound logical to me. What's the difference between driving a car in Mariposa versus Merced?
Merced used to be the same way, Steve, until we got too smoggy. They go by county how smoggy it is. Now with Mariposa, with all of the car traffic and bus traffic into Yosemite, they're becoming a little smoggier, and that may not continue forever. But all of the counties along the foothills there, along the Sierra, none of them have smog because the air is so clean.
Once that carbon comes out of your tailpipe and gets up into the environment, doesn't the wind blow? I mean, aren't we the beneficiaries of a lot of smog that is generated in the Bay Area that blows through our valley?
You can look at the same thing in China. China burns more coal in a week than we burn in a year. But yet we're charging a carbon tax on every living thing is made of carbon, and yet the good folks in California, the good felonious Democrats in California, which by the way, two of them being convicted of felonies, they don't have a supermajority anymore. So I want to thank the party for losing their supermajority because of their law.
But here's what's two things real quick. The carbon tax, as we are all starting to see, is for high-speed rail.
Well, that's what it's trying to be diverted for.
The second point is they're going to call a special election for that cat out of L.A., the guy that was living in the wrong district, Wright or whatever his name was.
Whatever.
Anyway, special election. They're going to have another
Although-
Democrat. They're going to have another Democrat in his
Hopefully.
seat as soon
but
as possible.
here's my problem with it, okay, with this carbon stuff. Ernie, now you work with cars. There's carbon all the time. What rules and regulations do you have that just are weird? There's got to be something.
Well, the whole smog program is just backwards. I mean,
Why so?
you have all these new cars, that still have to go through a functional test and an emissions test. But I mean, you're talking about cars, that are 4 years old that aren't polluting. All the numbers are in the zero. Now they're changing that, but it's still, the program misses a lot. There's cars, with check engine lights that are gross polluting. But when you run them through the test, they'll pass because of the
Parameters?
Right, because the parameters, the limits that they have on them, and the loads that the machine puts on the car, you could be idling and spitting out smoke, but when it's running, it'll pass. And there's really no way to catch those.
That's interesting.
The rules are written
That's
now.
interesting, because I do see some cars driving up and down these roads thinking, how the heck these things mass smog?
Right.
And as soon as they hit the accelerator, the big black puffs of smoke come shooting out in the air.
Yeah, and see,
Did you ever fix that with your car?
I'm good, man. I got a Chinese car or a Japanese car.
Yeah, and even with that smoke, there's if it dissipates, the rule is if it dissipates within 3 seconds, it's still a pass. So
get tested on a windy day or what?
right.
Well,
That's crazy.
Do you think the carbon, the test is just another form of taxation, Ernie?
Absolutely, I believe that, and I don't know. I can't speak for you,
Pretty
Ernie,
much.
but-
I mean, I'm sure the program started out, it intended well, but in the last report that they did, it was called the Sierra Report, and it was in 2010, I believe. Basically, it just said that the whole system is a failure. And, that's why they're changing the rules. That's why they're taking away the emissions test for 2000 and newer cars and just trying to do it a little bit different. Because, there's a lot of corruption in it. You got a car that's not passing, it's easy to find somebody that'll pass it for you.
Yeah.
In LA.
Amen.
Not
Amen.
here.
No.
In LA.
Yeah, not here. Of course, not here. But another interesting tidbit I got from Anthony Presto from the San Joaquin Air Valley Pollution District or whatever it is this last year was the first year ever that we did not violate the environmental protection standards, and we were getting fined. Because we were surpassing this certain level for a certain number of days. This last go-around, we didn't get it. We didn't pass it. So this tax that they've been charging on your DMV, I think it's $12 a pop for every car in the county.
Right.
We did not violate the standard this year, so we should have everybody should have a $12 credit on their DMV tax. So take a look at that.
Yeah, and then you think you're going to get that back?
No, I don't.
Bad chance.
No, because they're going to raise
But here's
the
something-
vehicle license fee 1%, which is basically your vehicles are property, folks. If you don't realize it, it's personal property. And I've always told you they're going to raise your property taxes, whether it be your real estate or your personal vehicle. And the legislature wants to raise vehicle license fees 1%, again, ostensibly to put into roads and smog, but it never goes there. It goes back into the general fund. And this
Back
is
to
where the death of
welfare.
1,000 cuts come into play. I'm sure Ernie sees it in his business. How many licenses do you have to have, Ernie? Permits?
Oh, man. There's a license for the shop, a license to be a smog shop, my own personal license to be a smog technician, permits to run a generator, permits to hold oil,
His green card?
the green card. I got that in LA also.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
We hear that all the time about how unfriendly California is when it comes to small business.
Well, it's right here in the paper. Yesterday, I was reading it, and it talks about the migration out of California.
Yeah. Ernie, I mean, do you have situations where you have to make that call? I mean, where you're thinking about maybe expanding, bringing someone on, and then you look at the fees and things attached to it, and you have to make the other call and say, look, I just can't afford it. If I could just get him in here, paying him a wage to do the job I'm asking, I could afford it. But when I have to comply with all these issues that the state mandates, it just doesn't make it worth it. I mean, do you ever have those situations?
Well, I bought a massage parlor.
It's holistic. It's holistic healing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
There's,
Ernie bought a new business here in town. You mean the Holistic Exchange here in Merced? Remember, I don't know if you know that it's right across the street from where Bubba's used to be.
Right.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I know.
18th and M.
The
Yeah.
Schaefer building.
Yeah,
yes.
Ernie just bought that business.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
But anyway, to get back to you, when you're bringing on the employees and all the things that come with it.
For employees, it's not that big of a deal. Where I've seen it, really hurt us is right across our lot. We have another shop that we're renting out, which we always wanted to turn into a workable, workspace, into another shop. But we had someone come in and look at it, and you got to bring this up to code. You got to bring this up to code. And when we started calculating it out, it's going to cost too much to get it running, for what we think we might make off of it.
And these are city issues or state issues or both, or?
Right, it's with the city.
With the city, so
it was sitting for a long time. I think somebody was living in there at one point, so insulations tore out, wirings frayed, and.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that because didn't we just get dinged pretty good on that new Pepsi building we just sold because of that very thing?
$750,000, Stan said.
Last night, actually, they finalized the deal with Sun Valley Nut, and the mayor was wrong. It is almonds, not pistachios. He corrected himself last night, but. What was interesting about that is the building was valued by Grubb & Ellis at $2.6 million, the way it sits right now. The city only got $1.1 million, basically less than half of what it was worth because they didn't take care of it. They let the wiring be stolen. They let it be vandalized.
Well, wait a minute. Wait, I have a problem with this. Okay, and it's just...
I have a problem with it, too, because that's $1.5 million
but Case,
that the taxpayers got screwed out of because they couldn't guard a building that we own.
Well, remember what we talked about what's the company on our street, Orchard Supply? Remember, and I said, are they gonna go past there? Are they make sure it doesn't get raped because
that's privately owned, Robert, and I understand that gets into a whole deal about blight. I mean, let's look at that haunted house on the corner of R Street and 19th. It's still burnt down. There's a chain link fence. How come they haven't bulldozed that? It's right across from a school. It's what they call an attractive nuisance. It's just waiting for a lawsuit. But the Pepsi building was something that you and I and Ernie and Steve own indirectly as citizens of Merced. And because of mismanagement and malfeasance, we got $1.6 million less than we should have.
Right.
But here's my question. If Grubb & Ellis goes in there and appraises it at 2 point whatever, the way it sits, then that's including to me, if it's the way it sits, that means without copper wiring, right?
Problem is, who's going to give 2.6, Robert? We're in a depressed economy. I mean, like Ernie says, he has a building he owns, rents out, and he doesn't have the juice to do anything with it. And it's not Ernie's fault, it's the economy. Just like Bush used to say, it's the economy, stupid.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those deals where, even though it's worth 2.6, nobody's coming to town with 2.6.
Right. And
so we got Sun Valley Nut coming up from Bakersfield who wants to blanch almonds, and thank God we had the sewage capacity because, again, blanching almonds takes a lot of water, folks. And luckily we have that capacity, and that's what made it reasonable. Plus, we gave them at literally fire sale prices.
Absolutely. Case, we got to go to a commercial break here, buddy. You want to take us out?
Hey, we'll be right back with our third and final segment and our special guest, Ernie, from E&J Automotive. Stay tuned, folks. Hey, folks, welcome to Citizen Watch on KYOS, 1480 AM. That's also the way you find us on YouTube. If you put in Casey Steed in the search block, they all come up, all the Citizen Watches, over 1,000 hits. And I really have to thank our listeners, not only to Citizen Watch, but to all of the KYOS shows that we have. I really think we have a great lineup. Of course, Steve, the best engineer in the business, is there running
Does he pay you to say that?
Not only our show, but every show. Robert, the Velvet Sledgehammer Tomasetti, who talks over everybody.
Okay.
I'm Casey Steed, and we have in with us all today a special guest, Ernie from E&J Automotive.
Ernie Carrillo.
If you need anything done on your car, this guy is the one to take it to. He's fair. It's hard. They say you need three good things in life: a good accountant, a good electrician, and a good automotive guy. And Ernie is the guy you want to take your car to, because I'll tell you, I've had a lot of bad experiences with mechanics, but Ernie's always treated us right.
Yeah. Well, you know what he does.
He's coming in there today, Ernie.
And here's a good service about Ernie is if you want to smog, if you want to smog, he'll pick you up. He'll pick up your car. He'll drop you off to the massage parlor. You get a 30-minute massage while he does your oil change.
It's holistic exchange, Robert. It's
yeah.
It's a holistic
Ernie does. But Ernie does do that. Ernie, go on.
Where about you located, Ernie, real quick? Are you here in Merced?
Yeah, we are on 14th Street between M and O.
I see your billboard off
Right.
99. Yeah, is that you?
Yeah.
But anyway, can I interject here just real quick to make a point about that Pepsi building? Because I think this is very illustrative of government in general, where they're more reactive than proactive. We have a situation here where we just sold a building for less than half price. Now, of course, there was a little bit of the condition of the economy involved in the equation, obviously. But we allowed $500,000 of copper wire to be stolen from that building, right?
That's right. Well, and the vandalism. It's not, unfortunately, the value of the wire. I'm sure the methamphetamine junkies that stripped that didn't get that kind of wire.
They absolutely,
and then the damage they do, it's just like we saw over there at the gas station. They rip out part of the switchgear. Well, the whole thing's no good.
Not to mention the people that fence it, the people that they take the wire to that gives them pennies on the dollar for it because they know they're meth heads and they need it for their drugs, and then they turn around and resell it for a nice hefty profit. It's not just the people that are actually on the site. If there's not a market for it, if there's not a place they can take that wire that they steal and sell it and convert it to money, then that's part of the equation too. So that's a whole nother level, is the people that actually accepted that wire from people that obviously were in the conditions they were in. But my point is it's a cost-benefit analysis that the government just fails to do every time. What would it have cost to hire a part-time security guard to sit in a shack over there, and pay him $25,000 a year for how many ever years it's been empty? So you say 10 years even, just for the sake of this conversation.
$250,000.
That's $250,000. When we sell the building, that's a wise investment.
Well,
but that's not
even
how
an alarm system. I mean, I can't believe that when Pepsi owned it, people were sneaking in there and taking wiring.
They could have invested very little money to keep that building as pristine as possible and got a huge return on it now that they're selling it. But the government doesn't think like that. They're reactive. They wait until they get hit in the jaw, and then they respond to that instead of being forward-thinking. And that's the leadership aspect that I think we always harp on here, and the lack thereof, of people saying, look, what are we doing about the Pepsi building? Who's protecting the Pepsi building? People are looting it. They're stealing from it. What are we doing?
Well, I'm sure Ernie can tell us about where the neighborhood he's in. You have to take precautions, don't you, Ernie? Or you'd come in the next morning and nothing would be there.
Pit bulls, razor wire.
Right. There is a dog. Like you said, there is barbed wire. We try to make friends with the guys that are a little more, seem a little more clean there to kind of walk around and take care of the place. But yeah, still, even with that, we have broken windows, stereo's gone. Even
what do you think some of the answers are, Ernie? What could the city be doing better to not only help your businesses and the surrounding business, but just to prevent these situations? What do you think needs to be done?
Well, they could increase patrols, we said, but then again, I mean, if you're driving by once an hour, that's still not enough. I think it goes to, you got to stop, like Steve was saying, wherever they're taking this stolen wire, you got to stop it there and have them turn these people in or not accept it.
If there's no market for it, they're not going to steal it.
Right.
Well, I agree with that, and I think also just having a better economy where people, we have less unemployment and that sort. How many people do you have working over there for you, Ernie?
We have 4 people there. It's my partner and I, smog tech, and then a mechanic, full-time mechanic, and then we have a part-time guy that'll help us every once in a while when needed.
Now, when you were talking about expanding into that new facility, would that have brought more people aboard, or would that just given you more space?
No, definitely.
Yeah.
Then we would have.
So there's another thing that I would think when the inspector goes in there and sees the things that needs to be done, why doesn't the city go in partnership with them and try to help them out to make that investment in order to create employment in our city?
Right.
Well,
or how about this? Did you want to buy the property or did you want to lease it?
We're renting now.
See, now here's the point. Why don't they go to the owner and make a triple partnership? Okay, the owner, you're going to get rent. We're the city. We're going to get tax money. And Ernie, let's give you a break, and we're going to help you out expand it.
You want to create jobs in our community. We are in it with you. We are here with you as a city, as a county. We want to do everything we can to help you create jobs in our community. And do you get that feeling from them when they come in there?
No,
it's basically here's what needs to be done. Call me when you get a call.
Right.
Yeah, that's the wrong approach. And when we say we're business friendly, we're not business friendly. We might have dropped the impact fees, but that's a rudimentary addressing of the issues.
Right.
You need to have business partners in this community, and we do not know how to do it in Merced. I can't tell you how many small business owners I've talked to where they feel like the people that they're dealing with at the county and the city are throwing obstacles in their way. And that's not, we can't be that.
What about Tesla?
It's interesting that you mentioned that. Last night at the Merced City Council meeting, the Merced boosters brought up a survey that they did about impact fees, coincidentally, of 6 valley counties, a lot of cities up and down the valley, and Merced is still at the high end of impact fees, and their whole purpose was to maybe look at these impact fees and see how they could come down. But it's a dichotomy because you need to have impact fees to pay for services like police and fire and those type of things. And we talked about pensions. It all has a nexus, folks.
Absolutely,
it all
it does.
has a nexus, and we need to be more business-friendly in California so people like Ernie can expand property they have.
Right.
So instead of having 4.5 employees, they can have 10 employees.
But doesn't
and to
that...
the city's credit, on the Pepsi building, just one thing, they did have a buyer for $1.5 million, but they were only going to bring 4 jobs. The buyer that they had at $1.1 million is going to bring 75 jobs. So I have to give Frank Quintero credit for suggesting that they go with maybe a less of a sales price and a bigger impact to our economy by an employer that's going to bring 70 plus more jobs.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, that's a no-brainer. I mean, if you would have gone the other direction, talk about outrage. Now, I want to give kudos, and I certainly don't want to be negative, but really, was that a hard call? I mean, please.
No, I think it was pretty easy.
No, but you know what? But I'll tell you what.
It's still frustrating that we lost, I mean, it's just like not taking care of your property, and it goes down in value.
Absolutely. Yeah, but I'll bet you if you went to the Board of Supervisors, they'd say, but we got a better price. But we got a better price. Look how much more money we put in our pockets so we could give to the new sheriff in his retirement.
Oh, sorry. Well, it's not just the sheriff.
And
it's everybody.
exactly.
Ernie, you got any... you're going to get a $200,000 pension when you punch out?
Oh, man, I wish. I'd punch out now.
We all wish we could retire in our 50s with our hefty 6-figure salaries. We all wish that. I mean, but
here's
that would
the
be...
thing. But here's the thing, guys. When we were kids, I graduated in 79. Everybody wanted to go to college. That's what your parents told you to do. Okay, it's a predominantly Italian blue-collar neighborhood, and education was the key to get out, okay, of our place, right? So the only time that you got a job at the city is if you were a Mama Luke, okay, which is kind of a stupid person in Italian. But anyways, what happened is if you were kind of, oh, hey, what's up? Dad pulled strings for you to get a job so you could drive a truck, no-brainer jobs, sit there, count, the street lights and all that kind of stuff, okay? Now, all of a sudden, those are the jobs you want.
Heck yeah.
Because I don't know where the trend changed, but all of a sudden it was like
huge, yeah.
Cha-ching.
The prime jobs now, the high-paying, good retirement jobs with benefits are all with the government. It's crazy.
Well, they don't have to be that way. The private sector is what pays the government wages, and people are forgetting that. The scales of power have tipped. It's really bizarre. One thing I want to talk about a little bit we had with Ernie last night at the city council meeting, this Jesse Ornalis, he's with the Brown Berets, gets up and starts talking about police terror and brutality. Do you see that in town, Ernie? Do you think the police department is out of control?
No, I think the ticket lady's out of control, but that's about it.
The one that drives around the little golf cart?
Yeah.
The one that does U-turns in the middle of the street?
But see, her income, her job depends on that. It's like It's like the CHP. You have to write 8 speeding tickets a day, or they send you to a psychiatrist. I was talking to a CHP officer that said that because he was not writing enough speeding tickets, that they sent him to the county, the department psychiatrist or psychologist to see why he wasn't writing more speeding tickets. As a matter of fact, he took a retirement rather than go down that path. But the bottom line is we have law enforcement, some aspects of law enforcement that have become nothing more than revenue generators. They have to generate fines and fees and things like that to survive. And that's a paradigm that this country's never seen before, I don't think.
I think it's a way for
one of the things they talked about last night at the city council meeting, they had this youth task force. They've been struggling. We've had some city council members that can't leave it alone, but they finally got on task with the youth leading the direction. One of the things they came up with was graffiti-free zones, or graffiti zones, where it was okay to have graffiti. What do you think about that?
Where are they planning to do this?
Hey, just because he's
and not in my backyard.
Just because he's Hispanic, what are you asking him graffiti questions for? That sounds.
I think it's because I'm from Livingston.
There you go.
He's asking graffiti questions. But yeah, I mean, are they saying certain buildings downtown are okay to graffiti on and some aren't, or?
Yeah, basically, they figure that graffiti is a part of the kids' culture, and that to keep wiping it out is counterproductive, and they need to have a graffiti zone where these kids can tag. Do you think that's a good idea?
Well,
as long as it's not in my area.
Right, as long as it's not in my buildings. I mean, if they want to set up a wall in a park, why not?
But here's my question. Why is it, and I read this yesterday, and I know this is going to be a touchy subject, but Richard Sherman, the NFL, wants to get rid of the N-word. Richard Sherman from the Seattle Seahawks said, if you do that, that's like racism. You're going to get rid of our culture. You're going to get rid of this. And an African-American gentleman wrote about why getting rid of the N-word is very good in the NFL. But my question is this. Why is graffiti is part of their culture? Because you're African-American, you can say the N-word, but if you are white or other, you will get in trouble.
Well, look at Paula Deen. Paula Deen almost lost her empire over that.
Right.
That cooking gal.
Richard Sherman on the football field says, hey, using the N-word pretty cool because we do that. We're allowed to do that.
You say it to each other, but you just can't say it.
But then you ask yourself, Richie Incognito, isn't that how he got in trouble? Because he used racial slurs, and now he's in trouble. Why? Because he's white. But Richard Sherman thinks it's perfectly okay.
And that's where the world's gone crazy.
Exactly. So it goes back to what Ernie said. You sit here, it's part of their culture. Okay, yesterday I went to McDonald's after Casey and I got talking on the phone, and I was absolutely stunned. A lady and her 4 children walked in pajamas and slippers and bathrobes in McDonald's to eat. Okay, and I'm thinking to myself, why now is bad good and good is bad?
No respect.
None.
There's just no respect.
None.
Yeah.
Right, and speaking of that, if you do set up an area where graffiti is legal or acceptable, it's not going to do anything really to fix the problem, because nobody wants to graffiti where it's okay. That's why they do it on the bridges and on the trains and on the billboards, because that's where it gets your attention.
And it's kind of, you're talking about two different birds here in a way too, because some people's graffiti means something than other. Some people look at it as art, but some of it, like out in Planada, they're tagging their territory, right? That's what the graffiti signifies, is this is my area, this is my turf. And that's not the case. It's not their turf.
Well, my brother he's an artist, Peter, and he did a clock motif on his friend's side of the wall, and it came out very nice. And like Ernie says, some of it is art. And that's instead of painting the building, I'll let you paint it. Tell you what I'll do. You're the tagger. Go ahead, tag my building. I'll paint it. It looks cool. Yeah. I'm urban cool. But like Ernie says, a lot of that art doesn't mean what tagging means. Yep. Exactly. I look at a bridge and go, how the hell did they get up there?
Yep. Well, we're out of time here, bud. We got to wrap her up for this Tuesday
evening. Ernie, why don't you give out your address and phone number one more time for people that may have heard you and want to patronize you?
Right. We are at 710 West 14th Street. That's between M and O and Merced.
Really?
Phone number is 209-725-0185.
And
say it slow.
That's transmissions and the whole nine. You do everything?
Right.
Everything. Okay.
Say that slowly, the phone number again.
209-725-0185.
Yeah, everybody gets a smog certificate or a requirement every 2 years. So if you look at the number of vehicles running around there, I would really suggest giving Ernie a shot. I don't think you'll be disappointed.
And he picks up your phone.
Ernie. Hopefully we can get you in again. You're going to get a little more airtime in there. I know Robert, he loves hearing his own voice.
Yeah, okay, and look at the guy that keeps just going, Case. I was trying to say that Ernie will also pick up your vehicle and deliver it to you.
Yeah, no, it really is good. And my mom always used to tell me, to bed, said sleepyhead. Not so fast, said slow. Put on the pot, said greedy gut. Let's eat before we go. And what do you always say, Robert?
Good night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are.
Thanks, Ernie, for being here.
Thank you, guys.